So here we are, the day after these three young ladies, Amanda, Gina, and Michelle, were found. They've been held against their will for 10 years. And as a father of three daughters, man, you're mortified. Because, you can talk to your kids as much as you want. And it's not just, daughters you got to be worried about. We all know about Sean Hornbeck and Ben Omby, and they were held against their will, but by the grace of God, they were rescued. But you wonder just what's wrong with people, right? I mean, you see your babies, and you settle into a routine. They go to school, they come home, they have dinner, they do their homework, they go to bed, they get up, they go to school, they come. It's just one. But then one day, when you least expect it, the most awful thing can happen. And these three young ladies were held captive for 10 years by a monster. They've been rescued, which gives hope. God bless parents whose children have been missing, are missing, have been missing, are still missing. Because I don't know how you do it. I know you lean on God, but man, that's got to be tough. But what happened with these three young ladies being found gives everybody hope whose child is missing. And it's just like you don't know. You just don't know which way to turn. And how does something like this happen? Who do you blame? The police? They'd been called out to the house. They heard screams. They were called out. They couldn't determine where the screams came from. So what did they do? Well, they did nothing, I guess. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, they did nothing because these girls were not rescued when you were right there. But, everybody has rights. This monster who allegedly did all this you just can't tear down his door and barge in and say, hey, what's going on in here? You can't do that. He's got rights. And the minute we kick in a door, it's like, well, you've infringed on my rights, especially if you kicked in the wrong door, which is bound to happen when you're trying to do some things, as far as rescuing children and people and things like that. But one of the young ladies, over the course of 10 years, gave birth. No doubt she was raped. I would be shocked if all three of these girls were not somehow sexually assaulted on some level. I'm sure they were. I bet the farm on it. Of course, like I said, one of them got pregnant, but what do you do? What do you do but pray? What do you do but, pray for those who are going through this? Praying for praying for each other. You praying for me praying for you and your kids and my kids, hoping that we'll see them at the end of the day. I mean, it's really all you can do, because it's just the world we live in. I was corrected one time when I said we live in an ugly world. We live in a beautiful world, I was told. We just live with ugly people. And that's the truth. His uncle, they interviewed him this morning on CNN, and they asked him, what would you tell your nephew? And he was like, he didn't know what to say. And then at the end, he said, shame on you. That's all he had. And I'm not criticizing him, but, this is somebody he probably watched grow up and really had no idea. Maybe he had an idea that maybe he had made some mistakes in his life, but who thinks that someone's capable of doing something like this? I mean, that's the thing. But I guess the bottom line is, look out for each other. Tell your children every day, I love you. I do, several times a day. Tell them all the time, because you just never know what's going to happen.